Omega losers run, that they took those 2 sets to the brink, right? But Kasen was able to pull it out in the end. This is definitely going to be a fun one. We'll see if is it going to be the Steve, or is it going to be
I have not seen Pac-Man from C. Caleb in a few weeks, or like I think at least since
yeah, we're gonna
at least since Construct. At least since Construct X, but he's going to be sticking with the Steve at least at this point.
Yeah,
which
and
I'm a big fan of. Like,
of Steve.
well, I don't know. Like,
I like sticking with your guns, right? If you're learning character.
I'm a big fan of devotion. That's what I am. Like, it's good. Like if you're the kind of person that says I'm going to ban the character that I enjoy because there's a better top tier, my respect is got like dipped a little bit. But Caleb says he doesn't want to play Steve because Steve is good. He always wanted to play Steve. This was his most wanted character.
Yeah, I remember C. Caleb saying that much, and I think the dedication is good, and you're gonna get better a lot faster going up against players like Kasen,
And I actually remember I was talking to Caleb because I drove him at least to Construct X, and I was asking him as well, like, why do you want to play Steve? Like, I understand, like, a similar transition at least from Pac-Man, but why do you want to play Steve? And then he said, the reason that I picked up Pac-Man is because I wanted to play a character where I created really weird situations, and basically where people are asking, what just happened?
Right.
And
very Pac-Man.
And he wants to do that as well. He feels like he can really do that with Steve.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, Steve definitely has very, you see the up air combos, the up tilt combos, right? Pretty straightforward, I'd say. But you could definitely do some wacky stuff on Steve for sure. And
I do know that Caleb as well just like tends to be like like a lab fanatic, and he's definitely gotten like some of the stuff down. He's gotten some of the nil these techniques down, and I'm really scared for when he starts to get things like PBR down.
PBR?
Yeah, Phantom Block Reversal. It basically allows you to turn around midair.
Oh, okay.
So what you'll see essentially is that a lot of people, what they would do is that they would actually do minecart into and then jump out of it, Phantom Block Reversal, and then hit with a back air.
Oh yeah, because the back air is such a strong spike.
Because back air is ridiculously strong.
Hey, ridiculous.
And auto cancels.
You use your tools, right? And very fittingly, Steve, a lot of tools in the.
Okay, so funny story. If y'all don't know, Sakurai recently, after he stopped doing his Ultimate Picture of the Week, he actually started a new YouTube channel.
Yep.
Where he talks a little bit about game design. And my buddy Ridacious from Chicago, he's a Steve main. He pointed out that there was a one thing that Sakurai wrote on risk versus reward in games, and then he said, Sakurai does not know what he's doing because he made this, and he just shows Steve up tilt.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, you know what? Fair point.
Sometimes you mess up. All it takes is one bad character, and all of a sudden you're a fraud, right?
All it takes is one bad character, but all it takes is just one anvil to seal that stock.
Yeah, and see Caleb right now able to even things back up. I haven't.
What? Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know. I feel like say Caleb got the grab at least, but it kind of went away because of the block disappeared. I know that's the thing that a lot of Steves tend to do is they try to cancel the end lag with the block disappearing. But
yeah, that's
not really seeing it the other way. But these down airs from Kasen are going to be pushing C. Caleb off the side.
Okay, a couple of forward tilts into the grab.
I was about to say as well that in terms of like characters or whatnot, we don't really have, at least in terms of like C. Caleb's like original roster, we don't have any Mii Gunners. And I think the only like Pac-Mans that we really see are Ichigo and sometimes Izzet if they visit at least from Iz-T from another state. But we have Celestio and we have Desmona
and a lot of good Steves in the
Wisconsin. Like,
state, right?
This is definitely a matchup that it seems that Kasen is very, very aware of. He's not gotten caught in these minecarts once. And counter as well to try and get that initial hit from the jab out from C. Caleb.
Yeah, and the lack of resources really showing out for C. Caleb right now. Just has a tiny pip of iron, but
it's just it's a little bit of tiny clip of iron, yeah. But especially for how important iron is and kind of like using those like really, really key tools.
Right, the minecart. You're looking at the anvil, of course.
You have the anvil and down throw. You have the anvil at least it's coming down from above. You have the minecart. It just becomes really, really key, and not having access to that is just kind of iffy. It really kind of stifles your recovery options. It stifles your disadvantage options.
Yeah, and Kasen doing a very good job pressuring, making sure that Steve was never able to get footing and get the mind going, so to speak.
Dare I say it? It makes Steve look like Steven Izaw's video.
The how to Steve?
No, the Steve might be the worst character in the game video.
Oh.
That they quickly retracted.
Well, we all have bad takes from time to time, right? No one bets 1,000.
Yeah, especially after some recent discoveries, I think, from some Steve players, including someone finding out that you can apparently fast fall off hit stun with Steve.
Well, is it some weird block shenanigan, or is it
Yeah,
like...
it's a weird block shenanigan.
I
There's a lot of stuff you can do with
figure
with
as
a
much.
PBR and kind of like having the motion of like putting down a block, but not actually putting down a block.
Well, regardless, right here,
One thing that I'm really also excited for seeing is that Kaleb said he wants to watch a lot more of these videos or at least some VODs of other Steves, and he's starting to kind of like realize, especially this is something like from Own and especially from Akala, which is instead of before where Kaleb would kind of just like throw out and like walk around with these up tilts, which you would typically see from online. He's really just like doing like one tilt and then maybe like one up tilt and then immediately like going to mine or going to like try and running F tilt. Well, except for that case. But
well, it worked out all
but
right.
they've been really doing well because it's like it's all about a game of mix-ups. It's all about a game of like confusing your opponent, which is what Kasen or what Kaleb wants to do.
Yeah, and up tilts are a great move. Obviously, that's why you see a lot of it. But if you're always using it, that's when you can get punished, right?
Yeah, but Kasen's saying that he's studied for this. He's not going to be perplexed. And right now, Kaleb does not have any iron. This is a little bit of a tough situation.
Yeah, I feel like Caleb's mining hasn't really been super fruitful throughout the games I've seen, at least. And Kasen really bringing on the pressure at this point.
The tricky thing is that Kaleb hasn't gotten that many of the walls down. And granted, you could say like, oh, it's only dirt walls, but that's the point. Dirt's not going to go away unless you put down the walls.
Yeah.
And if you want to get rid of the dirt walls to try and get the stronger things, like let's say wood, you have to put down those walls initially. You have to get it out of the way because otherwise dirt's just going to be taking up so much of your inventory.
Yeah, and inventory space is basically just all wood right now. And
inventory space is all wood right now, but that dash attack from Arsene is actually going to be sealing out the stock. Kasen at only 72%, and that Aeon is just going to put on 14 damage.
Ooh,
Lovely.
That's a bounce though.
Lovely hit off the block, I must say.
Okay, off of the down smash. I'm wondering if it was intentional or if it was just good fortune.
A lot of Steves tend to place that block there for that exact reason, especially with the recovery,
okay.
is that they would place the block maybe right at the small battlefield platform level, or maybe a little bit higher.
Right,
but
so then on the bounce back, you can get that great angle right there.
Yeah. It's so funny because a lot of Steves, they would either have it and say like, oh, well, I'll just put the wall between me and you so that way I can mine. And what a lot of other Steves also decided to do is that they would say, what if I put the wall behind me? And then they make it so that basically there's no way that they can knock them away because they're just going to get the tech off.
Okay.
And it's kind of like this weird little like push-pull. And I feel like especially the higher level Steves, you would see kind of that wall behind them,
Right,
but
because then you can take that hit and you have the fallback, so to speak.
Or granted, you would have the wall kind of between you if you have center stage. But if you want to, for example, like stay like high percents, like maybe what Kaleb is trying to do right now, you might try to like put a little bit of a wall behind you so that way you can tech something. Or you get a tech situation.
All right, and right now, Kaleb throwing out a lot of these minecarts.
He's thrown out a few of these, but it seems like Kasen has just been, like playing acrobatics. He's just been jumping all around, so he's not gonna give Kaleb the real opportunity to use his mind. And these short hops are not gonna help either. That's a low.
So
shield.
much pressure! Oh my goodness.
That's a low shield, and that's gonna be enough smash.
Wow. All right, so Kaleb still has to find a way to
Nice down
take the
smash
shot.
as well, and he's trying to get a few of these outs. I just like the turnaround with the block placement. I feel like really, really good stuff is coming out from there. Not quite gonna get it, but there's a little bit of damage, and those little Aeons are just gonna slowly tack up this damage. Who needs combos when you have damage?
I mean, especially when you're stock ahead, but
Especially when you're stock ahead, but especially when you only have one iron. This is a pretty weird spot. It feels like you need some sort of iron, some sort of chance to just mine.
yeah, but while you're getting mined, you're getting shot at, right? You're taking more residual damage.
Yeah, so just like slow,
Oh
slow
yeah,
residual.
it'll be winter semis. Right now, the Arsene is back out and finds the back air. Kasen up 2 games at this stage.
He's up 2 games, and honestly, you could tell that he has just been practicing this match. But
Yeah, I mean,
very, very aware.
Kasen knows. He knows the tricks of the trade, right?
and like that's like the general game plan that you want to try and employ against Steve is, if you really strip away his resources, like it's like one by one. And granted, he wants to try and get those grabs off, but especially like playing around that mid range, like dancing right around there, like Kasen just has been doing. It just makes the Steves a little bit more and more afraid of being able to mine at all. And if they don't have the chance to mine, then they slowly will lose their iron, which means that they lose a lot of disadvantage, a lot of their early kill power, and a lot of their cheese. And it also means that, as they start to use more and more of the blocks, they don't get a chance to mine, and then that way the disadvantage is a little bit worse.
Yeah.
We're actually going to be switching to the meat gunner.
Okay, so meat gunner coming out for Kaleb.
So not even like the Pac-Man. And I know that Caleb says that Pac-Man takes a lot of energy out of him. Like playing Pac-Man a lot, especially in that case, is quite taxing.
I mean, I'd imagine you're just dealing with so much. The flute management, the hydrant play, the various other, Pac-Man shenanigans that go on. Meat gunner, still has a lot of the great projectile game, but right now, we'll see Kasen.
You have a lot of the same projectile game, but you see these like a little bit of these panic air dodges are going to be caught up by Kasen. It's not quite going to fall for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and Kasen's just navigating right through like a pro.
He's just going to whack that bomb right at you. He's going to take someone tosses a grenade at you. What's your first instinct? No, run away. No, just toss it back. Give it back. Life gives you lemons. Squirt it back into God's eyes.
Well, when that lemon is an exploding one, you might as well poke it back, right?
Shout out to anyone who gets that reference, by the way.
I'm not sure if we have viewers.
What?
Regardless, Kaleb with some nice edge guards right here.
Caleb with some good edge guards, and it feels like this has definitely been like a little bit easier. If you have all the tools available to you, you don't need to worry about things such as resource management. That's really good. And that stealth bomber is actually gonna hit that in that case.
Stealth burst, such a strong move, right? It comes so quickly, you don't really notice it, but okay.
Caleb uses such interesting special options. I feel like especially Meat Gunner has quite a bit of different capabilities in terms of what sort of moves he wants to pick. But I think especially that stealth bomber is not one that you see all that often.
Well, what's the typical option? Do you know off the top of your head?
Usually, I think you would see a lot of Samus Missile.
Okay.
That's a fairly common one. I honestly forget what the other side B is. I am sorry to the Meat Gunner mains who I'm forgetting what your other side B is.
Well, I'd assume, and Stealth Bomber looks really great to me every time I see it used.
Yeah. And you see this damage is really turned around actually. Caleb has a pretty sizable lead on Kasen, and if you get something powerful like let's say a Meat Gunner up smash, that can honestly be the stock at this point with Rage.
Yeah, and this poke game has been so strong, just throwing out all these projectiles, and Kasen has sort of been trying to chase and track down this character.
And I especially love that movement with that forward air. I think that forward air definitely a lot better. I think in Smash 4 because it wasn't as much damage, but the range was longer, and as well the pushback actually from it, the aerial drift from it was a lot faster. It just basically meant that you could zoom all around them on the stage.
Gotcha. And right now, looking Kasen able to take that first stock and is now trying to bring it back percentage-wise.
Yeah, it just feels like these drop bombs have been really, really tricky for Kasen to deal with, aside from just kicking it away. What's better than throwing a bomb? Kicking it.
Well, right now, Kasen dodging them out well, but now off stage. Looks for the stealth bomb. No, not connecting.
A little bit of an iffy situation. These crash bombers, Kasen really has not been going for those upper guns because he knows that Meat Gunner can have the up air that could possibly even contest it, possibly even beat that thing if he drifts into it correctly with the range. But a stealth bomber is just really catching the range or the approach option that he really wants to play at.
Yeah, and right now Kasen, I feel like trying to avoid the cross zone, right? Because that's usually where those projectiles are headed. But
you see that every time that Kasen tries to approach, Caleb is just fading back and kind of dropping that bomb right there. Just like that. And he's just not able to really get in.
Yeah, and it's racking up percentage nicely at this stage, right? How do you secure that last kill when you can't even get really close to Caleb at this point?
Yeah. I'm not sure what he's supposed to do, but here comes a Tetracarn that's going to come out, actually. Not quite going to get the downer off of it instead, so he's going to get away for free.
Yeah, and these Arsene aerials, just swinging away, right?
Kasen and Caleb is just like happy to stick to this ledge, but that forward air from Arsene is just going to be doing it at this point.
Yeah, Arsene finally finding that decisive hit, right? Swung so many times, and Caleb did a good job avoiding it, but forward air finally takes it.
Forward air finally takes it. We are down to the last stock right now. It just feels like Kasen has just not gotten his hands on Caleb. He has gotten, his one or two straight hits, but they have not been able to convert into these larger combos.
Yeah, and right now, Kasen continuing to just get poked out at this point, but here's a dash attack, but they'll roll away.
Oh, that little shimmy.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's a cool man move. I'm just gonna say that. When you dash and then you immediately run back because you get right outside of someone's range, I'm sorry, you just look
That micro
so
spacing was intense, I'll tell you what. But see Kaleb still...
They're still fighting. They're still scrapping it out.
Yeah, with
Relatively high
Arsene on the
percents, but
board
this,
especially.
yeah, this is Arsene. See, Kaleb needs to kind of like use the space. He's been playing the zoning game so well at this point. He just needs to keep it up for a little bit longer. But that tiny shield not going to be doing any favors.
Oh, but
Caution the jump
gets
as
a
well
big
to
hit.
Arsene Bear. Is he going to be able to make
Kaleb
it back? No,
just
he's
doesn't
not.
have the distance. And that Arsene turning things around. See, Kaleb did such a good job timing it out, waiting it out. But ultimately, Kasen able to get in and secure the 3-0.
Kasen's first time showing up to West Town Brawl, and he is making a statement, to say the least. Going pretty
Winners
cleanly,
finals for
winners
Kasen.
finals.
And I believe we're going to see the other side of winner semis right now. None other than Rifflip taking on Black Tiger.
I'll see y'all later.
Good luck to both of you, gentlemen. All right, so here we are. Rifflip, Black Tiger, stepping up to the setup for winner semis, and this is going to be a fun one for sure. Black Tiger taking on Rifflip. Already has conquered one of his bracket demons tonight in D-Money, Black Tiger has. So perhaps another opportunity to do so against Rifflip right here. I presume Yoshi going to be up against Snake. Going to be a fun matchup for sure. All these buttons coming out for the Yoshi.